Okay, everybody, Mr. Taylor back with you with Rockin' Math. Now, just basic stuff that we need to take a look at as we continue, and these properties, these real number properties. For instance, and I'm going to do it in form of test questions, if you mind, from New York Regency, if you do not mind. Uh, for instance, question number 1 says, which property of real numbers is illustrated below? And if you look at the problem, it is telling us that x times the actual sum of y plus z is equal to xy plus xz. Now, which property would you assume that this would work with? And if you notice, if you look at the left side and the right side, x was distributed to y by multiplication, and x was distributed to z by multiplication. So this is called the distributive property, where you take a number, or in this case a variable, and distribute it to everything inside of the parentheses. Okay, now of course if these were numbers themselves, we could have actually just added those numbers and then multiplied, or we can distribute and multiply. But in this case, since they are variables, we must distribute. Number 2 says, which of the following are inverse operation? Remember, inverse operation says the opposite to undo a particular operation. You use the opposite operation to undo a particular operation. So the key word here is inverse. And if you look at A, it says multiplication and addition, which is not correct. Square root and division, which is not correct. Subtraction and taking the square root, which is not correct. And then D tells us addition and subtraction. Okay? Inverse operations. Number 3. Number 3 says, which operation will change the value of any non-zero number? Now, think about this. We have 1 plus 0. That's going to give us 1. So it didn't change the value. Then we have 1 times 1. Or 1 times 1. That's going to be 1. Did not change the value. Then we have 1 divided by 1, which is 1. That did not change the value. The only one that changes the value is B. When we multiply by 0, the value changes to 0. Okay, let's run back up and take a look at number 4. Number 4 says, John's solution to an equation is shown below. The given problem is x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Then what he did, he factored this. It's a term that you will learn in algebra next year. He factored this to x plus 2 times the quantity of x plus 3, and he set it to 0. So what he's saying is x plus 2 is equal to 0, or x plus 3 is equal to 0. You have not heard about this property, but this property that he used is called the zero product property of multiplication. Okay? Number 5. Which of the following is always true? Which of the following is always true? And it's pretty straightforward. It says the quotient of any two irrational numbers is irrational. The product of any two irrational numbers is irrational. So I guess you're saying that I can take the square root of 2 times the square root of 2, and that's going to give me the square root of 4, which is equal to 2. Nah, that makes no sense. And here, the quotient of two irrational numbers is irrational. Same concept. If I take the square root of 2 and divide by the square root of 2, I'm going to get 1. And then it says the quotient of any two integers is an integer. Think about this. 1 over 2 on both of those integers. So that's going to be 1/2 or 0.5, which is not an integer. And A says the product of any two integers is always an integer. And that means that I can say 2 times 100 is going to equal to 200, which is also an integer. Remember, an integer is a whole number and their opposite. So here, that particular property is true. That statement is actually true. Number 6, which of the following shows an application of distributive property, just like the very first one we did. If we look at 1, it says 6xy plus 4xy plus 2xz is equal to, that's not distributive. That's more or less associative. B, 2xy plus 3xz plus 5xy, that's commutative. And C says 4xy minus 12xy is equal to 4x times the difference of y minus 3z. That looks good to me. So this one, I didn't look at this one, but of course C looks like the right answer. So I just want to show you these properties. I got a couple, 2 or 3 more that I want to show you, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And please make sure that you are stopping this video, taking notes, and please understand what I mean by each one of these properties.